G'day there guys, my nickname should be Terms and Conditions because I get ignored so much, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, a like on this video, and tell me what you think of these all the way down in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinion. I'd love to hear your opinions. Posted by user AmiTheA HFBG1. Titled, Am I the a-hole for not taking care of my disabled daughter? Throwaway account. Also, please excuse my English, I'm not a native speaker. Some background info. I, 41 male, have a disabled daughter, Molly, 11 female, with my ex-girlfriend, Sarah, 37 female. This all started 12 years ago. Me and Sarah were together for about 4 years, and we were trying to have a baby. After a couple of weeks of trying, she got pregnant, and we were super excited. Unfortunately, in her 4th month, the doctors told us that our baby is severely disabled and advised us to get an abortion. It was very hard on us. We started arguing a lot because Sarah wanted to keep the baby and I didn't. I said I don't want to spend a whole life taking care of a child and throw everything away. But Sarah didn't want to kill the baby. We argued about this every day, and eventually it became too much, and we broke up. We still kept in contact with each other as friends. A couple months later, she went into labor. I came into the hospital with her to support her. As the doctors said, Molly was born severely disabled. They kept her in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and then gave her to Sarah. She took her to her house, and I visited them a couple of times. Within the next months, I got a job offer and moved away to another city. Me and Sarah are still in contact, and I send them money every month, but we meet each other very rarely, about once in 2 years. So now Molly is 11 years old. She's bound to a wheelchair and will never walk. She has the mind of a 3-year-old and can't speak. Sarah left everything to take care of her. She's at home with her 24/7 because Molly is unable to do anything on her own. They get state contributions since Sarah can't go to work, and I send them money. I have a wife now and 2 daughters who are 5 years old, and we live about 4 hours drive away from Sarah. Sarah has called me last week saying that it's too much on her. She said she does nothing else than take care of Molly, and she's tired. She gave up on her career, hobbies, friends, and everything. She asked me to start taking care of Molly as well. She asked if I could have her in my care at least 1 week every 2 months in the beginning, and after I know how to take care of her, then maybe more often. I talked about it with my wife, and we both agreed we don't want to take care of Molly. I apologized to Sarah, and instead I offered to pay for a professional to take care of her, or pay some facility to take her in, but Sarah refused. She doesn't want a stranger to take care of Molly, nor put her away in a facility. I feel really bad for Sarah, but I have a responsibility to my 2 daughters and my wife now. I talked about it with my parents, and they understand and don't blame me, but I feel like I might be the a-hole. Very tough situation, that one, and I can't blame OP for walking away from it. I don't think you could really call anyone the a-hole for walking away from a situation they don't want to be a part of there. Yes, it really does suck that Molly was born with a disability like that, but Sarah chose to keep her, and now she's completely under Sarah's care. It's unfortunate that Sarah can't handle those responsibilities anymore after 11 years, but she had the choice and she chose to keep Molly, and I respect her for that. It's really not an easy life to lead, but in the end, OP is not the a-hole for not wanting to look after Molly. That's my opinion, others may view it differently, but it's not the a-hole from me. You offered to pay for a solution, which is very generous. I hate to say it, but this is what she signed up for when she decided to continue the pregnancy. As harsh as that sounds, it's so true. There are some situations in life where there are no good options. Severely disabled baby is one of them. No one is walking away from that situation happy. I agree. Sarah doesn't want a solution, she wants her solution. The OP was very generous with his offer. Yeah, and it seems like a misery loves company thing, because the caretaker would allow neither of them to be burdened and is the ideal situation, not the a-hole. An external living situation would probably prove to be best, By the sound of it, an in-home provider would have to be in around the clock. Sarah would still have to come home and care for Molly otherwise, which it sounds like she doesn't want that at all. With a live-in/at-home care provider, things get very expensive very quickly, depending on all they need to do for the clients. Look, no judgment, but in-home care for Molly is not sustainable long run. Eventually you and her will not be around and capable, so you need to find her a good home where she can be cared for to live her best life. The good ones have long waiting lists, so you should be looking into those now. Honestly, Molly's mother should have been looking into them before she reached her breaking point. He doesn't need to do that at all. She should have aborted. Her body, her choice, her responsibility. Women can't have all the rights in regards to abortions and not take equal responsibility. OP is paying child support and offered to pay more, and the woman declined. She wants everything to be done her way, and she displayed that when she didn't get the abortion, and she displayed it again when she declined the professional help. I know I'm coming off as harsh, but choices have consequences. Also, if you take the stance that abortions aren't wrong, then logically, you must take the stance that a father should be able to opt out of a pregnancy before the kid is born. Disagree with the end? It isn't fair that women have an opt-out and men don't. But that unfairness is a consequence of a biological reality. Neither the man nor the woman can just abandon their born, living, breathing human child. Both parties can do whatever they want to their bodies in advance to prevent that outcome, but because the baby grows in the woman, she gets an extra out. That's not something we can really correct. Certainly not by filling our society with even more abandoned kids. Anyone can literally abandon their child. Firehouses and hospitals have safe spaces where you can drop the baby in a drawer and walk away free and clear. Yes, but both parties are equal in this scenario, regardless of sex. In the above comment, they are discussing a biological difference. Really makes you think. Posted by user SnoopEz1994, titled, "Am I the a-hole for stealing my friend's baby name?" Hi, first-time Redditor, 26 female here. I am an American, and my friend is Irish, 26 female. We met in college as she studied in the US. I consider her one of my closest and best friends. She was bridesmaid when I got married. Years ago, my friend found out that she can't have kids naturally. It was a really difficult time for her, as she has always wanted kids. We have spoken together about our future kids being pen pals. But she says when she's ready for kids now, she will adopt. I found out I was pregnant this March, and we are so excited. My friend has been very supportive and happy for me, although the pandemic stopped her from being able to fly out for the baby shower and the gender reveal. Last weekend, she asked me if I had thought of any baby names, and when I told her we had already chosen our son's name, she was extremely upset. We have chosen a traditional Irish name for him. She says I know that she wanted this name for her own son, which is true, but I thought now that she was adopting, any child she has will come with their own name. We wanted to give our son this name, and ask her to be godmother so she can have a child in her life with this name. She blew up. She said I was being cruel and should have asked her before deciding this. Well, I wanted to surprise her, so of course you can't ask someone, or it'll ruin the surprise. She said that the name has precious meaning to her and her family, and we have no right to have this name as we are not Irish. But actually, my husband recently did one of those DNA tests, so we discovered he is 18% Irish, and we think this is a nice way to connect with this part of us. Well, she laughed coldly. She said my husband and son are absolutely not Irish. I honestly was shocked, as I thought she would be really touched. As I said, she will not be able to naturally have children herself, so she can never use this name. When I tried to reason that out, she said she could adopt a baby that was unnamed, even though previously she had told me she has interest in adopting children, not babies. To me, it was like she was grasping at straws and just does not want us to use this name out of jealousy or resentment. She was really hurt I suggested those were her motivations and ended the call with me before she said something she would regret. Those were her words. She's not spoken to me or responded to my messages since. I don't want to change my son's name. Me and my husband are now very fond of this name, and my mum has even embroidered it on a lot of blankets and newborn clothing. My husband thinks I need to choose between this name or my friend, as it looks like in the future I can't have both. But it is not a name or my friend, it's my son's name or my friend's non-existent hypothetical son's name. I feel like she is punishing me for being able to have a son when she is unable to. My husband suggested I ask a more neutral audience, Reddit, so am I the a-hole? If you think Reddit is a more neutral audience, I've got some really bad news for you. I guess my take on this is she has worded this so terribly that I don't understand if she understands how bad she's making herself look. I'm sure her intentions are there. These are really bad intentions, that's for sure. She's really playing 4D chess with her own brain here. This is her trying to force her own way without regards to other people's feelings or thoughts, because they've shown her they do not like her doing this, and she's like, I'm not going to listen to you, I'm going to do what I want. You obviously have ulterior motives here that you're not telling me. Some people never cease to amaze me at how much they suck. This woman does suck. She has no care that her friend can't have a baby, and is now stealing a name that woman cherishes, and says, oh, my husband's 18% Irish, therefore I have a green card to do whatever I want. What's wrong with you? You're the a-hole. Yikes. Definitely you're the a-hole. Very insensitive of you. The names you share with your best friends are off limits. End of story. No matter how the circumstances change. That's just being a loyal friend. Every time she has to interact with your child, she will instantly be reminded of how she cannot have a child. Infertility is incredibly heartbreaking and difficult to work through as it is, let alone be reminded of a child that you can't have because your supposed friend named the child your child's name. If you really thought that was going to be a well-received surprise, you were quite out of touch with the incredible psychological burden that infertility can cause for women. You should change the name and apologize for not realizing how cruel this action could be. There are so many good names out there, and it's not too late. Embroidery can be reworked, and we changed our favorite name like 5 times before we decided on one. Unless you don't value your friendship, then do what you want. Additionally, you can adopt even a child in their teens and change their name, like a middle name. Your former best friend can adopt a son who is 11 and add this name to be his name. For a younger child, she indeed could potentially change the first name. You, OP, is doubling down and has clearly decided to keep the name. Just have to find a new godmother and best friend, I guess. It also seems like OP really does not care to listen. With this digging in, why even bother asking here? Posted by user Joe8674309. Titled, Am I the a-hole for being jealous of my pregnant co-worker? So I'm 31 female, a teacher at a private school, and my co-worker 21 female is an assistant working toward her teaching degree. We get along great, even though we're in different places in our lives. I'm happily married, and I'm happy to live more of a quiet life, and she is young and enjoys going out, being with friends. My husband and I have been trying to get pregnant for several years, and I'm due in September with our first. I was so excited to share the news, but I waited until 12 weeks to announce because I've had miscarriages in the past. My co-worker, we'll call her Kayla, became pregnant at the same time, and she announced it 5 weeks before an ultrasound or doctor's visit. I was happy for her and thought it was cute that we were pregnant together. She shares a lot more about her pregnancy than I do. I'm more of a shy, private person, so I don't like to talk about morning sickness or any other symptoms. Plus, I don't think it's appropriate to talk details about our bodies around the kids. Because of this, some of our co-workers have accused me of being snotty about my pregnancy. Meanwhile, Kayla gets little gifts and compliments. She also posts regular bump updates and nursery pictures on social media, while I don't really post at all. Anyway, on Friday, the school threw Kayla a surprise baby shower, and everybody brought gifts and food. I knew about it and contributed to the cash fund for a stroller, and I brought a few storybooks for the baby. I honestly assumed that maybe they were throwing a shower for me as well, since I'm due 2 weeks before her. But it was just for her, which was fine because I thought she should have her moments. When I quietly asked my principal later in the day if they were throwing anything for me, since my husband said he would stop by if they were, my principal replied that everybody assumed I wouldn't want one. I instantly began to cry, and I felt very rejected. I thought it was really unfair and cruel to throw a baby shower for one coworker, but not the other. Some of the other teachers heard that I was sad about it and tried to comfort me by pointing out that I'm in a better place financially than Kayla, and I don't need gifts. I don't think it's about the gifts. It's more about celebrating. I would be fine with no gifts at all. Maybe I'm being oversensitive, but I'm dreading going into work tomorrow because I feel so hurt. Am I the a-hole? It's unfortunate that such a miscommunication happens, and perhaps cahoots on her end to not have a celebration for you at the same time as her. I honestly cannot blame you for being jealous. I would be jealous too if I was left out of a celebration like that, even though I was earlier on vocal about why I wouldn't want a celebration because of miscarriages. You can't really change the past at this point. You gotta go into work, you gotta go through that dread, and you just gotta get past this one, unfortunately. You're not an a-hole for being jealous, you're not an a-hole for vocalizing it. That's natural, and that's human. Not the a-hole. Update: thank you so much for the kind words. I was truly overwhelmed by all the positive comments and offers of a virtual shower. Just ranting a bit on here helped tremendously, and all the positive people on here really helped me gain a perspective. I decided to take my maternity leave a week early and just focus on nesting and my body. And then, I gave birth to the most beautiful baby boy yesterday. Everything went smooth, and I'm so deliriously happy. The kindness of strangers still brings tears to my eyes. Not the a-hole. They were wrong to assume that you didn't want a celebration just because you were more private. What they are doing feels punitive. You don't come across as jealous, rather justifiably hurt. I was and am pregnant during the pandemic, and didn't really tell anyone until I hit 30 weeks. I've also had difficulty before, like OP. My coworkers who know still got me little presents, even though I'd purposefully shut them out of most of the pregnancy. If you're going to have work parties for people celebrating life milestones, you have to do it for everyone or no one. It doesn't matter if one person is more open or not. If they thought OP wouldn't want to shower, someone should have pulled her aside and asked. We had a widower in my group get married, and he requested no party, but we still gathered money and slipped him a card so he knew he was cared about. Not the a-hole. Your principal should have at least asked you how you prefer to celebrate, if at all, instead of allowing assumptions. You would think a building full of educators would be a bit more savvy about how to treat colleagues in the workplace. In every school I've worked in, the person's group, grade level or departments, plans the celebration. So OP's group is the a-hole for not doing this, whether she was quiet or open about her pregnancy. Posted by user throwaway username 123. Titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my daughter's college? My daughter Abby, 17 female, is a senior in high school, and is applying to college for next fall. She has been working hard, has a lot of extracurriculars, but not the best grades. We live in a small town, and she has expressed that she wants to go to college in a big city across the country. We, my wife and I, had always made it clear to her that should she decide to go to college, she would have to find a way to finance it on her own, and encouraged her to get her grades up to get a scholarship. However, that hasn't really come to pass, and it turns out her options for funding are quite limited if she does want to go to a reputable place. My uncle passed away earlier this year, and left a sizable inheritance for me and my siblings. I hadn't mentioned it to Abby, but she found out through her mother recently. She was absolutely ecstatic because it meant we could afford to pay for her college, and it would increase her chances to get into so many places. I told her that the deal is still the same. She needs to find a way to pay for her education and apply to places that would make financing it easier. She blew up and has been extremely upset since. Her mother is very sympathetic towards her, encouraging this behavior even, and says that I'm being unreasonable. Abby hasn't been out of her room much since this conversation and has refused to look at me. I think she is being childish and entitled while she's accusing me of clipping her wings. Am I the a-hole? This one I had to really think about before making a decision, and I feel like they haven't been educating Abby properly on what it means to carry that debt, why they won't pay for any of her college education when everyone else's parents save up like 18 years for them, in normal circumstances that is, not every circumstance. But in America, it's very common that your parents help you out with your college fund just because it's so hard. And another one here, OP hasn't said what they're going to be doing with the uncle's money. What was the reason all these years that they haven't been saving up a college fund? Is it because they couldn't afford it? And if that's the case, why now, when they do get uncle's money, are they telling her they're still not going to pay for it? Do they just refuse to pay for it on principle? Did they not have the money before, and now they do have the money so they can afford it, and Abby's going to get her hopes up? I don't know. Abby is young, Abby hasn't experienced much of the world, I can't fault her for her reactions. It feels like she's being played around by OP and OP's partner for her entire life, and that's not fair on Abby. Because of that, I'm gonna say you're the a-hole. Everyone sucks here. I don't agree with the all or nothing thinking here. Why not offer to match whatever she can raise through scholarships and grants? There are countless scholarships out there, and many go unclaimed because nobody applies. Best response. I agree. Even if she works or had worked to try to fund her education, it's likely she'd have to rely on loans, and they are best avoided to say the least. This could provide her an incentive to work harder and reward her for her hard work, and save her a ton of stress and hardship in the future. Yes, she'll learn hard work pays off and things don't just fall into her lap, but will have more room for success as well. OP, you could also offer to be the one to loan her the money interest-free or low interest. That way she still knows the value of her degree, but doesn't pay devastating interest rates. You're the a-hole to maybe everyone sucks here because you're ignoring how college is paid for in the USA. The FAFSA or FAFSA looks at your money. You're not magically exempt from that because you told her you weren't paying back in the day. So you're effectively clipping her wings even if you think that's unfair. Ugh, yes. Abby isn't going to be able to get any financial need grants at all. I had a similar thing happen in college because, long story short, my uncle stole money from my dementia-addled grandmother, so my mum took $100,000 of my grandmother's money into her bank account so he couldn't get it. Of course, that meant it appeared to be my mum's money even though it wasn't, so no needs-based scholarships for me. And OP, it doesn't matter that you don't pay for her college, your income and assets are still what they look at to deny her money. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enabled me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.